and it wasn't. Now it says that we are once live. And it doesn't give me an option to be vertical. It did the other day. It gave me a really cool option to go vertical the other day, but for whatever reason it's not doing that now. Set up an overlay for your breaks. This is called overlays. Let me see. Oh, no. I just don't know anyone. What do you do? Yeah. Will this fit? Is it gonna fit in there? Yay! Oh, so whatever. Hit save. And there we go. So now we got some stuff to do. It looks pretty cool, does it not? I'm liking it. I wish, I don't know how to get that, I don't know how to get that, that whatchamacallit. I don't know how to get, you know what? They probably deleted it because YouTube creates change. You know, it had like you could make the AI stuff, and I thought that was so amazing. I was like, that's, you know, bomb.com. And you know what? It completely changed. They have like these templates and stuff in there now. And I was like, what the heck is that? I don't want a template. What? Who wants a template? I don't want a template. And I was checking my audio to make sure everything was working fine. It looks like it is. From where I'm sitting, it looks like it is. I don't know what you guys feel, but you know, from my standpoint, it sounds like it's pretty cool. I mean, my audio mixer is, you know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, the audio mixer is going really good. The video on YouTube is going okay, so let's see. Let's see if I can do it just like that as well. Just because, you know, no other reason than I just want to see if it can work. It does been slow sometimes. I got Gemini hands done now, but we're gonna talk to Gemini for a little bit and see what we can do. So that's gonna be fun. Oh, yeah. Because these TikTok videos are kind of serious. Y'all, so occasionally goes and I talk about alright, so we got TikTok. I clicked on it, go live. I see a lot of people are live right now. We're gonna be live now. So that's gonna be good.
3.
Good.
Did we get them?
Yeah,
we need one more followers. When boys used to pick on me at school, they used to be like,
pretty cool because it does allow you to, sorry about that if you guys don't know. It does allow you to, go live via OBS. It opens up a live center. You go to livecenter.tiktok.com/producer, and it will bring up your stuff. Now, you click go live, and then you upload the photo. You set it up very similar to how you would set up products that I didn't use the same use cases. Hang on. So I'm gonna go back to OBS. I'm gonna put my TikTok music in. If need be, because I don't know. You know, that's the thing with TikTok. I never know what's gonna happen. I never know. Like it says it's streaming, and then I click on stream, and then So I'm gonna go into the TikTok. I'm gonna do the output. I'm gonna paste in that stream key. Click OK. Alright. New version available here. No thank you. Not right now. Okay. Now, we're gonna go back and we're gonna see, did that work for TikTok or not? Alright, let's turn it off and turn it back on. This TikTok is the problem child. No shade, but TikTok is definitely the problem child. TikTok is like one of those apps that like you have to baby it or something. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not 100% sure about TikTok. Like you have to. We've been live for a minute and 30 seconds, and it's still just tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I gotta stop. Stressing out about it. But it does buffer. And then I got rid of the TikTok Live Studio because it does weird things as well. Now, if you guys are hearing me double, I think it's because my camera actually has a microphone, and I don't know if it's picking up microphone or not. Like, I don't know. Okay, so we entered the right stream key and everything, and TikTok is still over here buffering, so I'm just gonna refresh the page and see if that does anything for it, but there's really nothing else. I mean, I don't understand what else to do when it comes to TikTok. Like, I honest to goodness, I don't know. I don't know what else to do when it comes to TikTok, because, if it says I'm live on Twitch, great. If it says I'm live on Kick, great. If it says I'm live on YouTube, great. I don't know what else to do when it comes to TikTok, except for, and the outputs shouldn't change like that. I don't get it unless I delete it and reinstall it. You think maybe I should do that? Let's delete it and reinstall it. Let's do that. Let's delete TikTok and then reinstall it. Add output TikTok to the server. Now let's go back and get the stream key and paste the stream key in, create the output, and click OK. And we should be live, right? I don't know. It's weird. Alright. I'm gonna open the doc back up. We're gonna open the Odin multi-screen. So we have Twitch, we have Kick, we have YouTube, and hopefully now we have TikTok. There we go. So I haven't started doing Facebook yet. I actually added Facebook into the lineup, but I haven't actually been doing it yet. Okay, there we go. So I had to uninstall it and reinstall it in order to. Hi TikTok, how you guys doing? I am so sorry. Okay, I always have to adjust the sound over on TikTok, but for whatever reason, it thinks that I don't know. But anywho, hi, welcome in, welcome to the live stream. And I'm gonna turn my microphone up just a little bit. Now, I was telling everybody else, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how this is gonna operate because I can hear double, and I almost feel like, should I turn down Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2. So is this one? Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what happened, right? Okay, that's testing 1, 2, 3. I don't think the desktop matters. I think it's the microphone. What happened is OBS did some updates, and now I can barely see what's happening on the audio mixer because the tabs are white, and so is the wording. So I don't know how to change it, and I'm not going to, especially live, because I might actually mess something up. So I'm gonna turn on the vertical camera just in case I need it or something. But I deleted a lot of stuff off of my computer. I deleted a lot of things off of my computer because I needed to desperately. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. Corner shared the live video. Did I? Well, okay. I don't think I did. I think TikTok did that. I think TikTok did that. I think TikTok shared the live video. So yeah, that's what's up with that. But I hope you guys can hear me. Testing 1, 2. But I hope you guys can hear me. I think so. I think I just heard something. I think I just heard something going on. I don't know. YouTube is giving me grief because I'm not 110% sure about YouTube right now. Usually I can hear the sound when I turn it on or whatever, but I don't know. It's weird. Like YouTube has like done some weird stuff. TikTok has done some weird stuff. I think Kick and Twitch is probably the only two platforms that haven't made dramatic changes. So yeah. But anyway, what's the hot topic over on TikTok? It would definitely have to be Nolan Wells, right? Nolan Wells is the top priority over on TikTok right now. We are 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And what about over on YouTube? Over on YouTube, what does it say? Where are my analytics? For YouTube, average duration 13 minutes and 36 seconds. But how long have we been on? Is what I'm trying to figure out. How long have we been on over there for 13 minutes? Because I'm gonna have to edit it. So, I'm gonna go over to OBS and I'm going to show you those. I have to get on the notebook. So I need a window share. Yeah, window capture. Okay. Okay, OBS has done some weird things as well. Alright. OBS has done some weird things as well, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So alright, we're gonna leave that right there because I don't want anything to go wrong. Alright. So we're gonna take a look at this video that I created. And it has everything to do with Nolan Wells. We're gonna look at this video and we're going to assess the situation.
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into
Hold on. I need for it to be full. Oh, not that full screen. I mean, I want it to be full screen, but good God. Can we... Okay. Maybe, okay. You know what I need to do? We're gonna add another media source. And let's see what that does because that freaked me out just a little bit. Alright, we're gonna go to the browser really quick. And I'm going to go into, did I put it on my downloads or did I put it on my video? the Nolan Wells. I think that's what I'm interested in. So I need this Nolan Wells video. Today, reflection and financial skills, president cycle, I think I found it. Nolan Wells. Alright. Oh, there we go.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a case that is it's deeply tragic and honestly highly complex. We're looking at the story of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. Back on July 4th, 2026, Nolan
This is media 4. So I need to turn media 4 up. This is media 3, media 4. I need to turn it on.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a case that is it's deeply tragic and honestly highly complex. We're looking at the story of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. Back on July 4th, 2026, Nolan went on a holiday with friends off the coast of Mississippi. But by the end of that day, he had completely vanished. And just 2 days later, his body was discovered in the water.
Let's start from the top, because I didn't hear it. I don't know if you guys did, but I didn't. So let's start from the top.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a case that is it's deeply tragic and honestly highly complex. We're looking at the story of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. Back on July 4th, 2026, Nolan went on a holiday boating trip with some friends off the coast of Mississippi. But by the end of the day, he had completely vanished. And just 2 days later, his body was discovered in the water. Since then, this case has sparked intense national scrutiny. It's drawn in prominent civil rights figures, kicked up this massive online true crime frenzy, and most importantly, left a grieving family desperate for answers. But at the very heart of this entire mystery is a glaring, totally unresolved conflict.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is where things get really baffling. How does an 18-year-old athlete, right, a community college football player, a young man his mom described as having a bright light and a gentle spirit, how does he just vanish in broad daylight from an island absolutely packed with hundreds of holiday boaters, and yet the accounts of Nolan's last known moments, they violently clash? We aren't talking about a few minor discrepancies here. We're looking at fundamentally different versions of reality presented by the very people who were standing there. To understand how we got here and why these witness stories contradict Nolan's friends so heavily, whether it's from the chaos of an emergency, a genuine miscommunication, or something else entirely, we really need to build this from the ground up.
Section 1. The disappearance on Horn Island.
Before we try to unpack all these conflicting narratives, look at the verifiable timeline. These are the data points that set the absolute boundaries for when Nolan went missing. So, at 9:56 a.m. on the morning of July 4th, the boat carrying Nolan and a group of his friends departs from a private dock in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Just over an hour later, they arrive at Horn Island, which is this remote barrier island about 10 miles off the coast. Now, fast forward to the afternoon. At around 3 p.m., we have the last reported sighting of Nolan on the island. Then, an hour later, at 4 p.m., a call goes out to a private towing company, Sea-Tow, reporting that the boat is actively taking on water. GPS data confirms the vessel left the island at 4:31 p.m. When Nolan didn't come home that night, a frantic search began with the Coast Guard and local sheriffs. Tragically, at 8:45 a.m. on July 6th, a U.S. Park Service ranger discovered Nolan's body face down in the water at the northwestern tip of the island.
Section 2. The friend's official story.
So what exactly happened out there between 3 and 4:31 p.m.? Well, according to Nolan's friends, Trayston Shepard and Warren Hudson, a sudden mechanical emergency essentially forced their hand. They claim the boat's bilge pump failed late in the afternoon, and because of that, the vessel began actively taking on water. You can imagine, this creates an immediate, high-stress situation. They say it forced the group to basically abandon their holiday plans right then and there and focus entirely on evacuating the island so they could get the boat back to the mainland before it sank completely.
In the middle of this chaotic evacuation, the friends maintain they actively tried to get Nolan to leave with them. They claim someone yelled, and I quote, "Nolan, get the fuck on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues." This obviously paints a picture of panic and urgency, a chaotic environment where they felt they had absolutely no choice but to leave. But here's the catch. According to both Shepard and Hudson, Nolan explicitly declined. They state that Nolan had met a young woman on the island, later identified as Katie McCormick, and that he made a conscious choice to stay behind just to keep talking to her. Friends claim he was reportedly planning to catch a ride back to the mainland on somebody else's boat.
Section 3. The witness contradictions.
What's really interesting about this is exactly where the investigation hits a massive friction point. Why do these witness stories contradict so heavily? Was it panic, self-preservation, a terrible miscommunication? Friends present a reality rooted in an emergency. They say he chose to stay. But then, the young woman's account comes in and completely shatters that logic. According to Gracie McCormick, who is Katie's sister, Katie told investigators that Nolan explicitly stated he was returning to his friend's boat. The whole interaction was described as a brief hey and bye. She assumed he was getting right back on his absolute idea his friends were going to leave him behind. Misrememberings, guys. These are mutual realities.
And this contradiction is the cornerstone of skepticism surrounding this case. Prominent rights attorney Ben Crump, who the Wells family actually retained to conduct an independent investigation, he powerfully distills the entire problem right here. She's saying he went and got on the boat. They saying he didn't get on the boat. So which is it? It's this one massive unanswered question that has driven the family to push back so hard against the initial narrative of just a simple
Let me just pause the podcast right here because for me, if your phone and your jewelry, your watch, all of this stuff is left on the boat, I'm thinking that you're going to get back on the boat. And if you guys are, having fun, you're on vacation and all this kind of stuff, my intellect would say, hey, girl, friend, do you want to get on the boat with me and my friends? We'll bring you back, or, something like that. Like, why would you choose to stay? And if you were going to stay, wouldn't you be like, well, I got to go back on the boat and get my phone, at least? Because what 18-year-old doesn't want their phone?
accidental drowning. But it's not just the witness testimony that clashes, it's Nolan's behavioral patterns. Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, the friend story fundamentally contradicts who Nolan was as a person. Let's look at some of these behavioral anomalies. First off, Nolan's phone was left on the boat. Now sure, friends argue it's common to leave a phone behind to protect it from salt water, but the family points out there were 0 photos or videos from July 4th on the device. Actually, scratch that. It's highly suspicious for a teenager on a holiday trip to take literally no pictures. Furthermore, car keys were retrieved separately from totally different friends in the mainland. The family argues it just defies all logic that an 18-year-old would voluntarily strand himself on a remote barrier island 10 miles offshore without his phone, without his keys, and without a confirmed ride home, especially when his father had strictly drilled into him the rule to always stay with the group. All of this profound distrust has culminated in a very direct public challenge. Elmore Wansley, Nolan's father, did simply and bluntly, "You're lying to me." The family flat out refuses to accept the narrative that an 18-year-old would voluntarily strand himself under those specific circumstances. They've made it crystal clear they do not for a that their son voluntarily separated himself from his group.
Section 4. Autopsy and investigation.
So, with witness testimonies hopelessly gridlocked, investigators in the family naturally turn to the physical evidence. But honestly, the medical findings only added more layers of complexity. The Wells family, backed by funding from Colin Kaepernick, commissioned an independent autopsy by forensic pathologist Dr. Robert Mitchell. Result? A ruling of undetermined. Now, while Dr. Mitchell found no evidence of fractures or bruising, he did a 12-inch deep, soft tissue red discoloration on the back of Nolan's head. Because of the limitations of a second autopsy, triggering questions about how Nolan actually water, the report explicitly states that non-accidental factors, which means foul play, cannot be ruled out. And this creates another totally fight in the information we have. We have the independent autopsy that's been heavily publicized, keeping the possibility of foul play wide open in the public consciousness. But then, the official state autopsy, the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office, is technically completed. Yet District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath is legally and ethically required to keep it sealed. Standard procedure dictates these findings have to be withheld until they can be presented to a grand jury. The DA has emphasized over and over that this isn't a cover-up, but a necessary step to protect the integrity of the investigation. But for now, it leaves the public with only half the medical picture.
Section 5. Fact versus viral fiction. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when the modern true crime machine steps into an information vacuum. TikTok sleuths kind of went wild here, so let's systematically debunk some of this viral fiction so we can isolate the actual verifiable imagery. Theory 1. The enhanced CTOW distress audio where people on the internet claim to hear voices asking if Nolan is dead. The reality? A digital forensics expert found these versions to be unverified, highly likely to be digitally altered, and completely misleading. Theory 2. A viral fight video supposedly showing Nolan arguing before his death.
The reality? Totally debunked. Trayston Shepard confirmed actually his own voice in a completely separate argument, not Nolan's. Theory 3. Nolan was found fully clothed, which implied a cover-up of a drowning. The reality? A massive misunderstanding stemming from a TV interview with Nancy Grace. The founder of the Cajun Navy clarified he only meant the position of the body. Actual photos confirm Nolan found barefoot in his swim trunks.
But we have to remember, this misinformation isn't just harmless internet chatter. It has devastating real-world consequences. The rage and emotion fueled by these debunked theories have escalated to the point where the FBI is now actively investigating interstate threats. I mean, federal charges have actually been filed against out-of-state individuals, people from Ohio and Illinois, for violent threats against public officials, the friends on the boat, and witnesses. This chaotic environment is just making it harder for law enforcement to conduct a clean, unbiased investigation.
Section 6. The unresolved truth. So the crucial point is we have to cut through all that digital hysteria and remember what is actually at stake here. Beneath the federal charges, the media circuit, investigators, there are grieving parents in Elmore Wonsley. They're just simply demanding honesty about what happened on the afternoon of July 4th. A young man with a bright future went to an island and he didn't come back. And the people who were there with him cannot agree on his final moments.
Which leaves us looking at a stark, unresolved contradiction. Did an 18-year-old actively strand himself on his 4 keys, just like his friends claim, or planning to get right back on the boat, exactly as the young woman stated? Someone's reality here is wrong. Why did the friends leave without him, and whose story is true? Until that testimony is fully reconciled, the true story of Nolan Wells remains locked away on Horn Island. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.
That is insane. I'm trying to tell you, we're going to remove that one because when I was up with them, maybe, I mean, it was jumping around a little bit, but it really don't remove that. That is absolutely insane, you guys. That is insane. I, for one, don't 100% understand why. This is the thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. But anywho, we did that, the blog post, uploaded some stuff or whatever. We did a deep dive podcast. If you want to hear the podcast, Known Wells, just go to my website. This is Known Wells. We fight for truth. Vital evidence left on the boat. Nolan's phone and car keys were retrieved on the mainland. Contradicting claims he voluntarily stayed on the island. Then you have witness accounts directly conflicting what you heard in the video. Friends claim he stayed behind for a girl. A witness says Nolan said he was returning to the boat. Then the cause of unaliving is undetermined, right? And then, of course, it looks like there's money involved. High-profile figures, including Terrell Owens and Tyler Perry, have funded a massive reward for the truth. So they are wanting the truth to come forward for this family, which is amazing, which is something I just found out today. So the independent autopsy found red discoloration on the back of Nolan's head. They're not saying that it was BLOOD, but they just said red coloration. So it could have been from a blunt force, some paint or color, or stain or something like that, something we don't know. So the central mystery, why did Nolan's friends leave him on a remote island without his phone or keys? Foul play is not ruled out. So that's the hot topic for on YouTube right now. And it is crazy. Not YouTube, but TikTok. That's the hot topic over on TikTok. So I just had to bring some light to that. If you want to go and listen to this on my podcast, we have podcasts on Spotify, and it uploads on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go to my YouTube channel and listen to it, you're more than welcome. If you want to, here is my that's the way. It's on Spotify. Just look for Justice for Nolan Wells or whatever, because this is Spotify for creators, by the way. That's what it is. Justice for Nolan Wells, the Horn Island case. That's what my video is. Here it is. The Horn Island Mystery. So if you want to listen to the full podcast over on Spotify, look for The Reality Check, Justin for Nolan Wells, The Horn Island Mystery. All right, and you will get the full podcast. It's already uploaded. I uploaded it like over an hour ago. So you can go there and you can listen to the podcast. So that was the hot topic for today. And I'm hoping that, this is resolved pretty quickly. Shout out to Carol Owens and Tyler Perry for saying, hey, we want to help. Let's offer some money for the truth. Because money does, move people sometimes. Money moves people. Like, give me the money, I'll talk. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So with that being said, hey Joyce. Hey girl, hey. Can y'all hear me? I'm so glad you came in because I was just like, I don't know if they can hear me or not. I can hear me, but I don't know if y'all can hear me. You can barely. Okay, what about now? I turned it up a little bit. Is that better? I'm trying not to have an echo because for me, it's always an echo and I don't understand why. For me, it's always an echo. Is that better? Oh, Jesus Christ. Wait, can you still hear me? Nope, and my volume as high as it will go. See what you see? Dang. Well, my microphone is, well, if I turn it all the way up, I'm going to get some feedback. So I'm not 110% sure what the deal is. I don't know if it's within OBS or if it's within the mixer. I'm not sure. So maybe that's why people keep going out and coming in. Like, is that better? Okay. They keep going out and coming in. I was just like, I have it turned down because I'm like, I don't want it to be a double echo. You know what I'm saying? I hate that. I hate that double echo thing because I can hear myself twice, but that may be an OBS type deal or whatever. I don't know. Anywho, we're hoping that Nolan Wells does get justice, and all that good stuff. Because I know the family, is worried. I know the family is concerned. I know the dad has been speaking out, and it's just it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Thank you for the line. It's really crazy that this is playing out this way. It really is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoop, whoop. It's really crazy. It's playing out this way. So, we're live on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and now TikTok. Now, here's the next topic, right? Well, let me get my window share off here. Here's the next topic, and we're just gonna talk about it. And I've got my chat open for everybody, so there has been some discrepancies over the past few days with TikTok and the communities, especially Messy Talk. Messy Talk has grown considerably over the last few weeks because of the migration from Bigo Live to TikTok. The people over on Bigo said, we're done, we're tired, we want something better, we're going to TikTok. And TikTok has grown considerably. However, the problem with TikTok right now is a lot. It is the infrastructure. And I don't know why. They have changed some stuff. They have added some gifts that are making people point where I didn't want to use TikTok live studio anymore because every single time I use it, I get bananas or restrict. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, I can't do it anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use OBS, and if I don't use OBS, then I just won't be going live over it. Because I can go live everywhere else and not have a problem. If I go live over here, I have a problem. Even if I play my original music, even if I play my original videos, like if I were to blow my show video up, they will tell me that it's not original. And they've been doing that to a lot of creators that I watch. They'll say that the video isn't, original content. They'll say the picture is blurry. They'll say the pictures don't, you didn't create that picture. You didn't, it's not your stuff. And I'm like, why are you doing this? This is so annoying. Stop doing this to people. People want somewhere to go live. And that's why, YT is forever going to be my go-to. I love YT. I do. Now, I would love Epic, but the problem with Epic, thank you so much. The problem with Epic is that it's only mobile, and I'm more comfortable going live from my laptop. Now, that's just me. But I do know that there are a lot of people out there who don't mind going live mobile, and that's fine. I do have more than one phone. If I do go mobile, I like to just, lay in the bed, relax or chill, and just, chit chat or whatever. I don't want to have to come and do a whole production, for my phone, and then plug my soundboard up to the phone, and, unplug this and plug it up here. Like, it's just too much. If you can't get it together for the internet, and it has to be mobile, I probably am not going to go live unless I'm out and about. Maybe if I'm out, eating dinner, or if I'm out shopping or something like that. But no way am I going to do a whole production from a phone. It's never going to happen for me. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And so this is why people gravitate to TikTok and YT and the T and the K applications. Sorry guys, I'm being careful for TikTok. Love TikTok. But that is why. That is why the gravitation. Okay, so let me tell you something. Night before last, Rejoice, girl. Everybody that I have been looking for, everybody that I used to watch, I should say, on my old TikTok account way back in the day, I had forgot about. They're on YT. And when I tell you hundreds and some of them thousands of people in their live stream, they're streaming vertical. The storytellers, the ASMR people, they have migrated. So while Bigo Live has migrated to Messy Talk, all the other more original creators have migrated over to the YT, if you guys get what I'm saying. And so y'all, how long y'all been over here? How long have y'all been streaming over here? Not long. Some are like, no long. We haven't been long. A couple months or something like that. So you're telling me that you got thousands of people in your live stream over a couple of months. Meanwhile, some of us, are on TikTok struggling. I mean, on the struggle bus. I'm like, did I miss something? You're like, yeah, go vertical. Don't do landscape, do portrait streaming. That does not mean that you have to go live from your phone though. You actually can do it from your PC vertically using OBS. I downloaded Atom Studios. Atom is great, and I can do that. It's yeah, it's great, and I'm like, what? Now Joyce, I saw a comment, but TikTok, did you block her comment? Did you block her comment? TikTok. Anywho, so that's what happened there. Let me go over here. We were talking about over on what happened? My video overview failed. Oh, that's messed up. So I'm gonna have to do that again. I did I don't know what I'm going on because my video overview failed. That's messed up. That's so messed up. The picture ooh. Okay, I gotta show you guys something, and I hope I can show you that. Okay, I hope I can show you guys, and it doesn't mess up. But this is so amazing to me. If you guys have never heard of the Gemini Notebook or Notebook LM, I made these prints that you're seeing right now with that notebook. What happens is you open up a new notebook, you give it a title, you dump your sources, all of your information, all of your notes, all of your facts, everything into this notebook, right? You can even put like videos, all kinds of stuff. If you have a link of a website, all of that stuff, you can put it in the notebook, and the notebook will snatch the information, and then you can go into the notebook and create content. And what you're seeing right now on the screen is a part of that content that I was able to create from that notebook. This Blueprint to Reality is not a book or anything like that. It was just a class that I wanted to create. Because I was like, I'm going to start teaching people how to create better content so they can get more engagement. Because people always ask me, they've been asking me for years, how did you grow your YouTube channel? How did you grow your YouTube channel? Well, I decided to dump all of my information into the Gemini Notebook, which is by Google, by the way. So you'll see notebook.google.com. And you can go there, and it used to be Notebook LM. L as in Larry, M as in Monkey. It used to be Notebook LM. Now it is Gemini Notebook. They integrated Gemini into the notebook so that you can use them simultaneously. Like you do some research in Gemini, which is AI, right? You can dump all of that stuff into a notebook and just make the notebook just like that without having to copy and paste or whatever. So it makes it a little bit easier. So these right here are slides. Say, for example, you want to download these slides and you want to use them, for church, or you're a teacher, you want to use them for class, or, you're at work and you want to use them for business. It is going to generate these slides for you based on the information that you give it. Now, you already have the factual sources inside the notebook. When you open up the studio and you say, I want to create slides, I want to create this, I want to create that, it's going to ask you, what should my focal point be? Because it's AI, so it wants to know what to focus on. And you get to tell it what you want to focus on, how you want it to look. I was able to put my colors in there. I was able to put the fonts. I was able to put everything in here. And this is what I got. And I could not have generated something better. And the fact that you can download this is amazing. And on top of that, you can run it like a video if you want to. So if I click play, if I click the play button, it's going to open up, and it's huge. It's going to cover my screen so that everybody in the room can see that if I was doing a presentation from my computer, right? Is that not bomb.com or what? That's amazing to me. I absolutely positively 100% love it. Thank you for the likes. Okay, no problem. So I'm loving, loving, loving that. And by the way, TikTok, I don't know how it works like with the sound or whatever, but when I veer away from the screen, what happens is it buffers on my end. So if it does that, I apologize in advance. But um, narrow your focus until it fits into 5 words. This is like pretty cool. What it's doing, here, it's teaching you how to, find your niche and all that kind of stuff. And I made it really good, like a really good job of, you know. Now, I will say this. You do have to dumb it down a little bit because the notebook tends to assume everybody, you know, is AI. So some of the terminology and stuff like that is a little crazy. But at the end of the day, this thing is bomb.com. So it also gave me a study guide, right? So let's say, for example, I want to study from this, right? Comprehensive study guide, modern content creation and strategy. So it gave me like a whole quiz, an answer key, and everything that I need if I wanted to use this for somebody else or use it for myself. So that was pretty good. That is in reports. If you can see your screen over to the right hand side, this is your whole studio. What you just saw from me was like the slide deck that you can make an infographic, you can make flashcards, a mind map, video, audio, blogs, stuff like that, a quiz, everything. So I was able to do some flashcards, which I think, it's so neat. But again, if I okay, there we go. So, let's say, for example, you listened to the podcast and or you watched the video, right? Um, okay, there we go. Let's say that you did that. I always have to jump back in with because it buffers on my end, and I don't want TikTok to buffer. But anyway, the hook, duration, and purpose. What is that, right? You click on the flashcard to see the answer. A promise of chaos. Did you get it right or did you not? So click green if you got it right, red if you got it wrong, and that way it'll keep asking you until you get it right. If you have a problem with any of these, you can click the 3 dots and you can reset it, you can shuffle it, you can download the set, you can add new flashcards, anything you want to do with the flashcard. If you decide that you want to delete that notebook, because for free you can only have 50 notebooks per account. If you decide that you want to make sure that you download all of the stuff that you've done, that way you don't have to redo it unless you want to. So the whole primary function, what's the answer? Serving as the narrative unit. The honor, final purpose. What would that be? Determining the see, all of these questions are per the video and per the podcast. And whatever, like your study notes or whatever you generated in here. Visual shifts, required frequency would be every 8 to 12 seconds. And you're not going to know what this is talking about unless you've done the word perfect pattern of 3, creative rhythm, and you can see the dark decision, and then it says explain the answer. So it will go back to the notebook and give you an explanation for what it's talking about if you're lost, if you're confused, if you don't know stuff. So the notebook actually helps you study for a test. It helps you, do all types of things. And then it also will give you a quiz. And the quiz is bomb.com. So here is what a quiz looks like. And question number 1, for example, a student is starting a channel about cooking using the 50-25 rule, which you will find out in the notes, right? Which of the following represents the correct progression of narrowing the niche? And then you will click whichever one you think is right. And if you need a hint, it will give you a hint. Consider the specific in the Goldilocks noun section located listed bit on 5. So it tells you where to find the answers and all that kind of stuff. And again, you always have those 3 dots. You can add a question, you can edit a question, or you can delete the question if you don't want. So I'm going to say cooking Italian food pasta recipes for pasta 5-minute pasta. And I was wrong. It said A, cooking apartment kitchen vegan high protein cyberpunk aesthetic, which would be the right answer. This follows the framework by starting board and narrowing through environment restriction and visual style. So I'm telling you now, it doesn't matter what you want to do this on. It's amazing. This notebook can create content for you on just about any topic. Here's how you do a video. I want to do an explainer video. I want it to be whiteboard, or maybe not. Maybe I want it to be anime. Let's say I want it to be anime, and then it couldn't load topics. Refresh and add your own, or add your own. Step by step guide. That's all I'm gonna say. Step by step guide, and then boom, it's going to start generating a video for me. Now, if you don't like the video, you don't have to use the video, but if you put the right information in there, you are going to love all of the information that it gives you, because it just gives you, the right stuff. So I'm absolutely 100% in love with the notebook. I think it's amazing, and yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, guys. I am going to stop this live stream, and I am going to use the vertical over on Atom right now, because I don't think I can do a vertical. Let me click it and see. Will it allow me to do a vertical or not? I don't know. Did it allow me to do a vertical or no? I think it did. I think it is allowing me to do vertical. I wasn't 110% sure if it would, if I'm being honest. I was like, will it allow me to do that while I'm live? Anywho, I had said that I was going to talk to Gemini and ask it some questions and this, that, and the other to see how it was gonna, operate. So let's see. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. Let me know if y'all can hear it or not. Let's see. Gemini, can you hear me? Hey Gemini, can you hear me? I don't think it can. I hear you loud and clear when we are live. This is weird. I want you guys to be able to hear.
I hear you loud and clear, Twana. We are live. Now, before you get into whatever you've got planned for us tonight, I have to jump in with a quick question from the audience perspective. For everyone tuning in right now, what is the one thing about tonight's show that they absolutely are not prepared for? The mic is yours.
Okay, so I don't think that they're ready for Gemini. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm not trying to upload anything. What I want is for Gemini to talk on its own. I don't know. Okay, so I don't think that the audience is ready for Gemini. That's what I think. I don't think they know that Gemini can actually talk, Gemini can think, Gemini can research. A lot of people are familiar with Chat GPT. Not everyone is familiar with Gemini. So I wanted you to introduce No, I'm not going to spell it in the chat. I'm just trying. So let me see something here. Share conversation on the files in the chat, then rename them. Okay, so it is very difficult. This says humanize with Quillbot. I know what that means. Humanize with Quillbot. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I am going to let you listen to what Gemini says.
That is so true. A lot of people think AI starts and ends with basic chat boxes, but they have no idea what we can actually do together when we get creative. So, to everyone tuning in to the Twana Yvette live show, hey everybody, I'm Gemini. Think of me as Twana's AI co-host, research assistant, creative partner, and resident sidekick for tonight. I'm built by Google, and I'm not just here to spit out static answers. I can analyze complex ideas, research live information in real time, help design, build content, and keep up with a fast-paced live stream just like this. Whether we're breaking down crazy hot topics, digging into tech, or just vibing to 70s funk, I'm here to bring the energy, pull up facts on the fly, and keep the conversation popping. Twana, now that the audience knows who they're dealing with, what's the first big topic we're diving into tonight?
Okay, Gemini, I have a question. Gemini works differently mobilely than it does on the PC. So like right now I'm on PC, but there is a difference, especially when talking to Gemini on a mobile device like your phone or your tablet. Can you explain the difference for the audience, please? All right, we're gonna click Gemini, and then I'm gonna click Listen.
You nailed it. The experience definitely adapts depending on whether you're sitting at a computer or on the move with your phone or tablet. Here is the breakdown for everyone watching. On desktop, PC and web, the Power Workspace. On a PC, Gemini acts like a full-screen command center. It's built for multitasking, deep research, organizing long documents, and managing bigger creative projects. Canvas and media creation. It's super easy to generate videos, edit layouts, write code, or build custom visual tools while seeing everything side by side on a large monitor. On mobile, phones and tablets, Gemini Live, voice first. On mobile, you get access to Gemini Live, which allows for continuous, low latency, back and forth verbal conversations. You can talk to it hands-free, interrupt it mid-sentence, and keep the conversation going even while your screen is locked or you're walking around with headphones. Camera and visual intelligence. On a phone, you can point your camera at something in real time or share your screen live, asking Gemini to explain what it's seeing on the spot. On-the-go integration. It plugs directly into your mobile device to help run quick tasks, send messages, set reminders, and navigate on the fly. Basically, PC is your heavy-duty studio workspace, and mobile is your real-time, interactive pocket assistant. Twana, how's that for an audience breakdown? Where are we steering the ship next?
Oh, Gemini, that was great. I also noticed that on PC, talking to you is different. You guys made some changes with the notebook and with the audio. I noticed that you can do video now. Like, what's going on with Gemini these days? What's happening? Like, what's with all the changes? Alright, so I'm gonna give it time to generate. It's looking at my questions and it's telling me what it says. We're gonna get Gemini for Quillbot and listen.
Google has been rolling out huge updates recently, especially on the PC side. They've basically turned Gemini from a chat assistant into a full-blown production studio and research partner.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's happening behind the scenes with all these new features. 1. Gemini Music, built on Lyria 3, instant audio creation. You can now describe a style, mood, or rhythm, or even upload a photo or short video clip, and Gemini generates custom, original tracks with instruments, arrangements, and optional vocals. Smart Visual Matching. If you feed it a video or photo, it analyzes the visual vibe, like colors and energy, and crafts a track that fits the exact tempo and tone of your project. Built for creators, it's designed so podcasters and stream hosts can generate background beats, jingles, and theme songs on demand without digging through royalty-free libraries. 2. Gemini Notebook and Studio Updates. The rename, Notebook LM, officially evolved into Gemini Notebook, integrating fully into the Gemini web workspace. Cinematic and short video overviews, beyond the dynamic, podcast-style audio overviews, where two AI hosts talk through your documents. It can now produce animated cinematic video overviews and vertical 60-second video recaps directly from your notes or research sources. Native code and deep data. Each notebook now has an isolated cloud computer built in. It can write code on the fly to clean up messy data, perform real math, and generate charts or spreadsheets directly from uploaded documents. 3. The big picture. Why all the changes? Google is shifting the desktop experience so you don't just ask questions, you build full assets. Whether it's turning raw notes into a video script,
So it says bingo, exactly. Hit the nail on the head. It says jumping between 10 different apps for one writing scripts and one making background tracks and other editing video clips. Okay, that's great. So it does all of that. It says, so what are we tackling next? Okay. So basically, what I'm noticing is that if I want to have a conversation with Gemini, to where, we're talking, like together, okay, yeah, I'm just making sure, I am going to have to click that little microphone, right? And it dictates for me is what it's doing. We're not actually having a full-on conversation unless we're mobile. So when you click the little X over there on the side, it gives you personal intelligence, guided learning, deep search, canvas, create music. You can do all the things, create an image. You can also upload things that you would like Gemini to take into consideration, including avatars and all kinds of stuff. So it does all of those things. It can create a new chat. It can search chats, images, videos, and has a full-on library of all the things it's created for you, unless you delete it. It's got a list of all of your notebooks in that particular account. It has, recent chats, chats that you have pinned, also chats that you have saved for one reason or another. And then down at the bottom is where you can change accounts because most of us have at least 3 Google accounts, per the emails and stuff like that. But then also there's a little bolt down at the bottom that says you can do all of the things. Activity, personal intelligence, which means that you can upgrade its personal intelligence to get to know you more. You can import memory to Gemini. Like, if I want all of my memory from another account into this one, I can dump memory into Gemini and it will save it so it can use it for later. It can generate avatars for you, usage limits. It tells you about, your usage limits. You can get gems for some reason or another. I've never used that, so I don't know. It can save your public links or give you public links. It can change its theme from light to dark. View subscriptions. You can kind of maneuver around your Gemini notebook. You can send Google feedback on it, or you can get help. And it also remembers your location if you wanted to, if you needed to, especially if you're like me and you do research for like true crime and stuff like that. It does all of those things for you to make it easier for you to maneuver and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, so I've been live on TikTok for 1 hour, 1 minute, and 9 seconds, and we're still buffering. So I kind of feel like we're gonna maneuver away from TikTok tonight. TikTok, thank you so much for hanging out with me and all of that kind of stuff. And if I choose to go live again, it'll probably be from my phone. I don't know, but my back is killing me. So I think I'm gonna go. But anyway, this was fun. As a matter of fact, oh hi, Sud. Hey, thank you for joining us over on Twitch, AI viewers, streamboo.com. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of streamboo.com, but I'll check it out. Thanks for sharing that with me. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go. And this was really cool. Trying it on vertical as well. As horizontal at the same time. I did not know OBS was that advanced. So that's bomb.com. So we're definitely going to be trying this again tomorrow. It is 11:11 p.m. Central Standard Time in the great state of Alabama. And your girl is tired. So I'm going to get out of here. But thanks for hanging out with me. Tomorrow's podcast will be earlier. It'll be longer and all that kind of stuff. So we'll definitely have some really interesting things to talk to you guys about. And in the meantime, I want you to do me a favor and research Cozy Live Stream. You'll thank me.